Hi all you Bald Beavers fans, how you doing? It's Rob, and I thought I'd just drop another video as a follow-up to my last one about entitled How Trump Could Still Win the Election. It's a thought I had when looking at all the various polls that keep coming out that show Hillary up by 5, up by 7, whatever it is, and some showing even Trump up by 1 or even thereabouts, and people are talking about how these polls show that Hillary is essentially guaranteed the presidency, but I think I've found something that contradicts that. That's just basic mathematics. Now, essentially what I'm going to argue is that Hillary can win or will win the popular vote in a relative landslide, say by 5%, but that the chance still remains that she can lose the presidency, even having won the popular vote by such a large margin. What I thought of, or what I came up with, was noticing that she was winning by landslide margins in pollings for California, New York, Illinois, and Massachusetts by something like 50 to 25%, 55 to 30% thereabouts in the most recent polls. So I thought, it occurred to me that a large amount of votes would accumulate for Hillary in these 4 states. So I ran some numbers, and I used the most latest poll results from each of the 4 states, California, New York, Massachusetts, and Illinois, as well as the latest polling numbers from Texas, where normally the Republican candidate would be winning by a large margin, but this year Trump is only supposedly ahead by 3 to 5 points, so it's going to be closer than it normally is. So I then took the voting numbers and applied it, or the polling numbers, and applied it to the amount of votes that each state cast in 2012. So I made a list of how many votes each state would produce for Hillary and for Trump if they were cast right now in proportion with the polling numbers, the most recent polling numbers for each state. So my my conclusion was that in the 4 states plus Texas, there would be a total of 17 million votes, 17.4 million votes for Hillary and 11.2 million votes for Trump. And then it came out to about a 7 million vote difference, which in terms of the 2012 total vote of about 130 million is a 5.4% difference. And being conservative in my accounting, let's say there's 140 million votes this year, it would be a 5% margin, or 5% account of the vote. 7 million votes is 5% approximately of a conservative 140 million votes in 2016. Now, if the polls are saying Hillary is up by 5, give or take, nationally, if you take those 4 states with her 7 million vote advantage or in polling, that counts for the entire 5% that she's up in polling. So what that means, essentially, is that outside of those 4 states plus Texas, the vote is even, give or take. So Trump's path to victory all along has been keeping Romney's states and then adding North Carolina, or adding Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and keeping North Carolina. That's the easiest path to victory for Trump. There are also avenues he can take by winning Iowa, Nevada, Colorado, Michigan, Wisconsin, whatever, but the most straightforward path is keeping North Carolina and winning Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Now, he happens to be up right now in Ohio, and the most recent poll showed him even in Florida, and the most recent poll that came out today on October 25th showed him within 3 points in Pennsylvania. So what could conceivably happen? And by the way, all the other swing states, they were all Obama states, so it doesn't matter if they all trend towards Clinton. They were in the equation for Clinton winning anyway. So what can conceivably happen is that Clinton can win the popular vote by 5%, which would be considered I guess close to a landslide. But Obama won the popular vote by 4%, and he only won it by 5 million votes. And this has happened in the past, where Al Gore won the popular vote by 500,000 votes, but he lost the Electoral College to George W. Bush. So what could happen, because she's got such a huge margin of victory in the highest population states, she can win the popular vote by 5%, and then Trump could still win the election. All he has to essentially do is win Florida and Pennsylvania and keep North Carolina, and he wins the election. He would get to 270 electoral votes, and then there's There's one also, the second congressional district in Maine that he seems to be running ahead in, which would put him to 271. So this is just more to say the polls, the general election polls for the entire country, I don't think matter right now. What matters are the polls in Ohio, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Florida. And since Trump is ahead in Ohio and seems to be even in Florida, and a lot of people think with early voting patterns he's actually ahead in Florida. And North Carolina, it might be a toss-up, but let's go ahead and give Trump North Carolina for the sake of the argument. The entire election boils down to Pennsylvania. So what is going to happen, or what I'm going to be looking for as this goes forward, is those 4 states, but more so Pennsylvania, how the polling starts trending towards Pennsylvania. And recently it has been going down. Hillary's been around, say, 6-8%, and recently it's been around like 5 or 3%. It's been trending downwards. So what I'm saying is, ignore the national polls. They're irrelevant in this election. Hillary will win the popular vote. That's a given. I see no possible way that Trump can make up 7 million votes against Hillary in the overall national general election numbers. But those 7 million votes are irrelevant because they're still in California and Florida, or California and New York, which she was always going to win anyway. So just watch for Pennsylvania. That's the key state, the Keystone State as they call it. That is the one that the election will turn on one way or another. So I guess right now what my prediction is that we don't know. That it will turn out one of 2 ways. Either Hillary will win the popular vote by about 5% or 7 million votes, give or take, and Trump will narrowly squeak out the Electoral College vote at like 270, 275, or all these state polls in the swing states will go to Hillary by a few points, and she'll win the Electoral College by like maybe 350 total votes or something like that. And it will be a landslide in both the Electoral College and the popular vote. So it's going to be one or the other. Right now it's basically a toss-up. Like I said, it all boils down to Pennsylvania. So I'll make another video in a couple days, say on Halloween, updating what I think the trending is with Pennsylvania. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned to the Bald Beavers for more election updates.